Debbie and her children talking shite. Debbie and her children talking absolute shite.
Hello, and welcome to our family-run day spa. It's great to see a bit of leopard print in here. Our double spread ad must have finally been published in Take a Break. My name's Andrew, and I'm the hostess with the mostess, who will be providing you with all the steaming hot fresh towels you could possibly need during your visit, plus a free signed photograph of me wearing leather chaps. And no, you can't have two copies, you cheeky bugger. So, who have we got in today? Debbie's currently filling up the jacuzzi with bubbles. Donna's volunteered to be our human fish and eat the dead skin off your feet. Careful, she's a bit of a nibbler. Craig's carrying out his hand-free buttock massages in the steam room. And Stephen and Billy are offering facials using their special nutty mud scrub, which apparently was freshly produced this morning. So sign this disclaimer form, pop your pants off and relax. It's time for my family to scrub you silly. Hello and welcome to Debbie and Her Children Talking Shite, episode 7, I believe. We're going to go round the day spa. First of all, as always, we have Master Craig.
What it is, right? I've had a sausage and it's come out cold.
Okay, and secondly, we have Madame Donneur.
Good evening, beautiful people of the world.
Oh, that's very nice. And thirdly, we have Stephen.
Hey, guys.
And yeah, unfortunately, Billy is away on business for the foreseeable. He's on a secret mission from God that we cannot talk about. But yes, he is saving the world. And last but not least, we have Mr. Debbie.
Good evening. Did Craig say hello?
Yeah, I fucking well did. What were
I'm
you
sorry.
Okay. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us again. So has anyone been up to anything interesting this week?
Well, no, I haven't really. I've just been working.
I made dinner for my son and I forgot to tell him I'd mopped the floors and he got his dinner and he ran upstairs and his dinner went everywhere and so did he. That was quite funny.
That's amazing. That sounds like something from a Scooby-Doo cartoon. Did his legs?
Yeah, it was.
Was it like a windmill legs? Brilliant.
Yeah, it was really entertaining. Yes.
What dinner was it, by the way, that fell on him?
It was spaghetti.
Brilliant. That's the best.
Yes.
Nice. What did he say?
For fuck's sake.
Nice. All I want to hear now is a meatball fell in his mouth. Craig, I hear you saw your favourite ever band this week.
Yes,
ABBA.
that's right. Yes, I saw Iron Maiden, who was the best band in the whole world. I saw them live for, I don't know, I've seen them a few times now, but they are always fantastic, and this was fantastic. They had a giant Spitfire for the last song. They were amazing. They're all very old people. They run around like little ants on stage. It's great.
Nice.
Also, something else happened this week. I went to go to work. I got on the bus. Bus pulled up to a bus stop, and this 12.5-ton truck drove into the back of it. But instead of stopping, it continued to drive all the way along my side of the bus and just completely fucked the bus up. And so everyone, the guy was like hitting his horn, and the guy just kept on driving really slowly along the side of the bus. He wouldn't stop. And the bus was screwed, so I had to get off the bus. Then it started raining, and that was exciting. Yeah, I texted everyone so I was going to be late. It wasn't late at all. How to do that? I don't know.
Oh man, there must be some road rage going on in Chicago.
Yeah, they are. They're mental. Love it.
Yeah. Was there any sparks coming off it? Was it like that bit in Planes, Trains and Automobiles where like you saw skeletons of everyone?
No, that did not happen.
Okay.
But I wish it had.
the guy driving was like dressed up as the devil going
It was all a bit strange. But anyway, the guy did stop. He come back. And everyone's looking at him like, what did you do? How did you not see a bus, a stationary bus in your big truck? But whatever.
Wow.
It's fine. Everyone was fine. Nobody was hurt.
You should have said you had a whiplash, Craig.
I should have said my balls fell off as a result of it. What you gonna do?
You
Amy.
should have said before I came on this bus, I had at least 3 legs. Now I've only got 2.
I can't turn left since this accident. Do you realise that? It's impacted my life severely.
I can only blink with my eyes. Oh, dear.
Stephen, what's Stephen been up to?
Got any news for this week, Stephen?
No, I really haven't been up to that much. It's been pretty boring, really.
What have I been doing? I'm trying to think. I haven't actually thought of what I've been doing. I went to see a special speaker speak this morning, and it's not a cult. Don't worry, but
Yeah, it might be though, eh?
it might be. It was Sunday morning, and it was a little bit on the religious side. It was quite interesting. What I wanted to happen was somebody to do some front flips down the bit in the middle, like out the Blues Brothers. I was hoping I would see. I was hoping I would see the light, but I didn't. Never been to one of those events before, but it's quite interesting.
Sounds better than staying home and making love. I mean, honestly, brilliant.
To
Listen.
yourself?
How very dare you? Okay, but yeah, so that's been our collective weeks. Moving on. Right, so we got a brand new feature for this week. What we're going to do is read out some shite news stories of the week. Has anyone found any shite news stories they would wish to share?
Yes, I have a news story. It is very exciting.
Is it shite?
Literally, yes.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, this story is from Classic, really. It's from the Coventry Telegraph. And this really did happen. And the headline, I'll just read you the headline and see what you make of it. So the headline reads, Mum rushed to hospital after her dog pooed in her mouth as she slept. So yeah, this woman who owns a dog who unfortunately had, she had violent diarrhea is what the article says. And it's a Chihuahua as well. I don't know why that makes it more entertaining, but it does. And apparently she was having a nap when her pet dog called Belle did a poo on her face. I'm reading this text verbatim. That's what it says. I'm not made it up.
Did a poo on her face?
Yeah, she was asleep with her mouth open. Never slept with mouth open. And the dog pooed in her mouth. And some of it went in her mouth and just on her face in general. Her quote for this story is, "It was disgusting and I was hurling violently for hours after. I just couldn't get the taste out of my mouth." There's a picture here of her with dog diarrhea on her face that she took after it happened, before she was rushed to hospital in an emergency.
Mum, I swear you've had a similar story, no?
Yeah. But you know what? There's an upside to it, because she does say she forgives her dog for her little accident and she still loves her with all her heart. But should definitely be more mindful in what position she sleeps in the future.
Wow.
She said that. Fucking hell.
Right.
What a world we live in.
So hang on, she's going to be sleeping face down from now on.
I don't know. I think she was sleeping with a balaclava on.
Let's hope so.
That is a pretty odd thing for a dog to do, though. You know,
I think they've been planning it for weeks.
She must have done something to piss it off in the first place. But to squat over your owner's face and do that, that is
Just
pretty
imagine
unheard.
the thought process of that Chihuahua. It woke up and it thought, "Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I think I can go do a poo in her mouth." It must have had that thought, because it had to get up there.
Yeah.
It must have thought about that.
I've caught Mum in the garden before, running around eating dog turds.
Yeah.
Right.
We
My
know.
first question is, why would she take a photo of it when an ambulance was on the way? You just wouldn't do that.
She was in shock, Deborah. She didn't know what she was
She
doing.
needs some attention.
I would love to hear that phone call to the ambulance service.
Oh, yes, imagine that.
So yeah, I've got a story here from Yorkshire Live. This is amazing. I've never heard of this before. And I want to know what all of you would do if this started happening to you. This person Right, I'm gonna quote what he said before I say the headline. But this person has said in a Yorkshire accent, I'm at my wit's end. If this is you, grow up. Right. But what's happening is that the headline is Yorkshire man's torment as mystery stranger keeps yelling porridge through his letterbox.
Stephen, that's got to be you. It has to be you.
This poor man is at his wit's end, right? But apologies if this post is not allowed, but I am wanting to get to the bottom of this as I'm at my wit's end. I live at and for the past 3 weeks, someone has still been opening my letterbox flap in the middle of the night and shouting porridge. Sometimes it's porridge time, Papa Bear, or once it was eat before it goes cold, Papa. And this bit was said in a whisper. It's my special porridge. Before you ask, porridge has not been left at any times. This is clearly an unwelcome visitor, and I wanted to stop ASAP. If this is you, grow up. But yeah, so this guy is really worried. It's been happening.
You think you've got a bad life, and then you hear a story like that. It just puts everything into perspective, really, doesn't it?
No, I think whoever's doing it is an absolute genius, and I hope they carry on.
I thought you would like that. Yeah. What would you do if it started happening to you, though?
Oh, I would find it hilarious. Yeah, I would. Whoever this guy is, if someone's shouting porridge through his letterbox all through the night, he's done something wrong. So he obviously deserves it. So
you would not find it hilarious. You would not.
No, I wouldn't. That was a big fat lie.
No, Mum, you wouldn't. You get a write-up over that.
Well, anyone shouting anything through the letterbox in the middle of the night would be, aggravating to say the least. But this guy has done something that doesn't happen to normal people. This guy has done something to deserve these porridge attacks, verbal attacks, and I think whoever's doing it is an absolute genius. Please carry on.
Okay, well, Stephen, you live quite near Mum. Could you arrange for somebody to be shouting something through a letterbox every night?
I'm going to do it.
Oh, yeah, you could do it yourself.
I'm going to put porridge through a letterbox.
But whatever you do, don't be blowing raspberries through a letterbox because she won't know any different in the middle of the night anyway.
Bit of brown porridge, Stephen.
Mum can't sleep unless raspberries are being blown.
Stephen, what's your news story?
All right, so I'll read this out to you. The headline is Scott's mum all shook up after discovering the face of Elvis in a ketchup pot.
And she was Scottish. That makes it even funnier for some reason.
Yeah. She's 27 years old. She was tickled to find the music icon swimming in her tomato sauce over the weekend.
Sorry, she said she was shocked to find the musical icon swimming in her ketchup.
Yeah. Elvis is swimming. Okay.
Yeah. Let me read out this first little paragraph. I looked in the pot, debating if there was enough sauce to dip again, and that's when I saw him. As soon as I saw him, I immediately said, "What?" and showed my partner.
Okay, and did he hang himself straight away, the partner, or did he leave it for the night?
He hasn't been seen since.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Did she have suspicious minds?
Suspicious hinds. Was she all shook ketchup? We have the Debbie's letter of the week. So yeah, we've been sent one again physically in the post. So thank you to this person. Are you ready for this, Deb?
Oh, always ready.
Yeah. Okay. Well, funny enough, this one is actually from somebody that's kind of in the public eye. So I don't know if you've ever met Noel Edmonds personally. Would you like to say whether you have?
No, but I don't like him. What? Carry on.
Well, he doesn't like you. Funny enough, because good. I'm glad. Because an incident happened when you went to see the band Opus live in 1982. And if you don't know Opus, they are famous for doing that song, Life is Life. Do, 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 do.
You were conceived for that.
on that very night. No, so what happened is Mum went to see Opus by herself because she has 0 friends and all of her family don't like her, and yeah. So she went to see Opus by herself. She bought herself a ticket. She sat right at the front row, which really put the singer off of singing. What was more annoying is that it put off the people sitting directly behind her for actually about 5 rows up, because at the time she had such a big bouffant haircut. So what she did is when they played their song Life is Life, Debbie stood up, was the only one that stood up, and she started singing along to it. Do, 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 do. Life is life. Do, 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 do. Life is life. And so she started singing along to it. So the people sitting directly behind her happened to be Noel Edmonds and his very good friend Chris Tarrant. And they both looked at each other, and Chris said, this is what Noel has said to me in the letter. He said that Chris turned to him and said, Noel Edmonds, I bet you cannot create anything that's more fucking annoying than this woman. Guess what happened only a few years later? Noel Edmonds created Mr. Blobby, but still lost the bet. That's what he said happened throughout the Opus concert. I just want you to confirm whether you have, in fact, seen Opus in 1982 and whether this happened or not.
Right, okay. I think we all know that I have not seen Opus. I don't like them. I don't like the song. And no, I wasn't there. So that's completely made up. And I don't like Noel Edmonds either, or Chris Tarrant. So
they wouldn't lie. They're famous,
famous,
exactly.
They wouldn't lie. They're celebrities.
Exactly.
Well, perhaps they're the exception to. I don't like any of the people we've mentioned. I wasn't there. No, didn't happen. Another made up letter. No, funnily, it's funny that you mentioned that it actually came through the post, like it was a real letter. That's funny, Andrew. Because can you show me that letter?
Unfortunately not, because at the end, Noel Edmonds asked me to burn it straight away. Burn after reading.
I don't think Chris Tarrant would want anyone to see that letter. He's very mysterious like that.
Can we not burn Noel Edmonds instead?
Okay, we'll leave it there. This week we are talking about crime. Yeah, so with your synesthesia disease that you have, that you are riddled with.
Riddled with.
What does crime taste of?
Macaroni cheese.
Thank you, Debbie. We'll be back next week with Debbie's Synesthesia Corner. By the way, if you have murdered anyone, probably best not to admit it on this podcast.
I was living on an estate, and it was a really awful estate, and you couldn't even get pizza deliveries. So it was a no-go area. No one would come to the estate, and they say police didn't even like going there. And they said you had to, and a few of us were doing this thing where we had electricity meters, and we were taking the innards out of a lighter and calling it a clicker. And we used to insert the clicker into the meter to click up the electricity, how much electricity you had. And this went on for a while. We were all doing it, and people had different names for it, and they were called zappers or clickers. I called mine a clicker. And I kept mine in this little tiny mini beer jug in the kitchen. Anyway, one day the electricity people came around to read the meter, and they went away, and they didn't say anything. And a few days later, well, about a week later, the police turned up at the door. So the police were there with a charge sheet and a car to take me away, and the people from the electricity board. And they came into the house and they said, we have reason to believe you're using an electronic device to change your meter readings. And I said, no, that I really don't know what you mean. And they said, well, have you heard of a zapper? And I said, no. And they said, well, it's a device that people are taking apart their lighters or something like that to change the meter readings. And what you've bought in electricity isn't matching up to how much you're using on your meter. And I said, I really don't know what you mean. Well, the police and the electricity people were standing in my kitchen. This little mini jug with the zapper in it was right behind them. They couldn't see it. And The only thing that saved me, because yes, I was fiddling the meter, and we'd recently had central heating installed, and suddenly one of the policemen said, "Have you had any work done recently in your house that would affect the meter?" And I said, "Yeah, I've had a company in doing the central heating." And they said, "Oh, what?" Because they thought I was making it up. And they said, "Oh, yeah, what was the name?" And I told them, and they said, "Right, hold on." One of them went outside to make a phone call, and the electricity woman was really not a nice lady. And she kept saying to me, "We've got you, we've got you." And I said, "Okay." My legs were like jelly, but I was trying to style it out, you know. And anyway, yeah, they came back, and because these people had interfered and tampered with the meter and they put this tape round it, there was absolutely nothing they could do about the meter readings. So I got away with it.
Wow.
Yes, yes, too right, too right. You got to do what you got to do in life. Life's
Until
too short.
today, Mother. Until today.
Until today, because surprise, surprise, we have arranged for the police to come, and they're going to kick your door down in about 5 minutes and take you away. We played over Paris, and me and the keyboardist, I won't say his name because I think this might have been illegal, but we got kind of lost one night. French wasn't that good, and we'd been walking for like hours, and we didn't have it. I think I was out of battery. He didn't have any signal. We had no idea where we were, and we both really needed to urinate all of a sudden. So it was like pitch black. It was about, I don't know, 1 a.m, and there was this big building in front of us. We were just like, yeah, we need to urinate, let's do it now. Checked around, wasn't anyone there. We weed up this building, went round the corner, and this building is one of the most famous buildings in Paris. It's like huge. It's called the Musée d'Orsay, I believe, and it is like, yeah, giant, and it's really famous. And then we saw a policeman who luckily had not seen us do this. Policeman in Paris, I don't know whether it's still like this now. It's about 10 years ago, but I went up to this policeman and I said, "Look, we're really lost. We've been walking for hours. We don't know where we are. Do you know how to get to blah, blah, blah hotel?" And he turned around and said, "Speak to me in French." And that was it. But then I looked round and I saw literally a line of these policemen going around in a synchronized line on roller skates, and they all had guns, so all holding guns. It was the strangest thing. So I thought, you know what, I just won't mess with the police in Paris. It's not worth it. But yeah, that was my police story in Paris. It was,
Andrew, sometimes when you go to sleep at night and you're just drifting off, do you hear a voice go, "Speak to me in French"?
yeah. I asked.
Drug-related fantasy of yours, police, the gendarme on roller skates. What are you talking about?
Yeah, true. Honestly,
It was a different time back then.
It was a different time. Yeah, and yeah, really, really odd. I would love to see our coppers over here, our bobbies over here on roller skates. By the way.
Right, it was midnight and I was in a car chase with the pole going down a country lane, and they caught up to us. The driver wasn't Wally. Anyway, I had some strong tobacco on me, and I got out the car and they were walking up to me to my right-hand side, and with my left hand I threw it in a bush. It's like 12 o'clock at night, I couldn't see nothing. I threw it in a bush, and they saw I had nothing on me and had to let me go, and I went there the next day and it was still there.
Fuck.
Yes.
That's impossible.
It was very lucky, yeah.
I'm quite shocked. I mean, you said you was in a high-speed police chase.
This is years and years and years ago, by the way.
Oh, okay. Is it still there in the bush now? Can we go and pick it up?
No, she's at it.
That's gone.
Many years ago, I worked in a shitty job in retail where I had to work the night shift in a 24-hour convenience store. We saw everything. Well, one night, before we'd kind of closed the doors and that, this kid come in. I wasn't a child. I mean, he was just a young person. And he asked for some, 20 Marlboros or whatever. I got them. And I put them down. I go, "All right, mate, that'll be like whatever it was then, $4.25 or something ridiculous." And he goes, "All right, there you go." And he kind of slapped my hand like that. There was no money there at all. And he just walks off. So, because I was young, I thought, well, you can't fucking all do that, can you? So there was only me in the store. No one else was working there. So I ran out the shop and ran after him because I was worried that if someone stole something, I'd have to pay for it. And £5 back then was a lot of money. So I run out and he was just crossing the street. And I decided I'd run towards him and I rugby tackled him. And I jumped on his legs and grabbed his legs. He went down like a sack of potatoes. But he went down. And I was like, wait, you didn't pay for them, mate. You've got to pay for them. And he's like, what are you doing? He was off his face. And at that point, we were both illuminated by this bright light. And we both looked around to our right and we realised that it was a car headlight. And I'd rugby tackled him in the middle of the road. So we looked at the light, so we looked at each other, and we got up and ran out the street. And then we looked at each other up and down, and he just took off down the road. I was like, fuck, I just walked back to work. Fun.
Wow.
Yeah, he didn't pay for it, but, I tried, and I walked back in the shop. I was like, oh, sorry, that geezer didn't pay for his cigarettes. And he was like, oh, yeah? Well, I've got more for my cigarettes.
When you saw that headlight, you could have done two things. You could have did what you did, or you could have looked at each other and screamed and hugged each other.
Yeah, I thought about it. Or I could have left him there, but that in of itself would have been a crime.
The driver of the car might have thought they were humping each other.
Yeah, someone else out there has got a story. I was driving along and I saw these two men hugging each other in the middle of the road.
At least he could have had a cigarette straight after.
Craig, did you know it's actually illegal to own a smelly dog in Illinois, where you used to live?
Illinois? Well,
Illinois, that's the one.
First problem is it's fucking Illinois. Second problem is
it's actually illegal to own a smelly dog. Did you know
the
that?
second problem is, how do you define smelly in a court of law? Everyone's different. One man's smelly is another man's perfume.
Did you know that you could, if you play Knock Down Ginger and you get caught, it's a £500 fine?
That's why you kids, instead of playing Knock Down Ginger and joining gangs and doing crack, you should be staying home doing your homework.
I've got a good one. In the country of Samoa, it is a crime to forget your wife's birthday.
So it should be. So it
should be a crime in every country.
Yeah.
I can't forget my wife's birthday because she's so fucking fantastic.
Ah,
there we go.
Yeah, Craig wins. Hey.
And that's how it should be. No, I was just going to mention with the police, our dear old Uncle Norman, who sadly isn't with us anymore, but there was a time in Tooting when he decided to rob the KFC, and Norman jumped over this quite high wall and landed straight into a pallet. He had a gun with him, and he landed in a paladin bin, big tall rubbish bin. Anyway, he scrambled out. And he ran through the KFC. They decided to go through the back entrance to take them by surprise, but he slipped on some grease. And he had to sort of somersault over the counter and land on his knees and styled it out and pretended that's what he's meant to do and said, this is a hold up. And they got a lot of money. And
but did he get the secret recipe?
No, yes. Didn't get the secret recipe, took the cash instead.
Right, okay, Craig, what's this week's episode been sponsored by?
This week's episode is sponsored by my ass. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Goodbye.
So long.
Debbie and her children talking shite. Debbie and her children talking absolute shite.
I looked in the pot, debating if there was enough sauce to dip again,